All right, today it's about time to go home. It's Friday. I got two things that I thought was kind of interesting. They're polar opposites. It's the laziest, slowest solid roller lobe I've ever seen, and then also I got the fastest, most aggressive solid roller lobe I've ever seen. So I'm gonna show you both of them in this video. So hang loose. All right, so we fix a lot of cams, and so we get from time to time, people, hey, I got something that's killing valve springs or murdering rocker arms or whatever the deal is. And then this one, a guy just sent it in. It was in a motor that he bought. He didn't know anything about it, and he wanted it run on the cam doctor. And so the intake lobe's a little goofy, but it's not like out of sight. But the exhaust lobe is just, I have never seen anything like it. So we'll go to the screen here. You can see this is the velocity curve, and this is the lift curve. And you can see this massive taper. And normally you don't see it like that. Normally it looks more like the intake. It just sort of, rolls up in a big radius, but I just never see them like this. So let me, let's just pull the report. All right, so this thing is 284 and 294, and it's have I got the right lobes? Intake 7. It's only, it's 430 on the intake, but it's 390 on the exhaust lobe lift. And this is a big block, so it's a 1.7 rocker. The really odd thing is the intake, which is still a little big, but the intake is 320 at 20, but the exhaust is 350 at 20. So that's like a 50, what is that, 56? That's a 56 major intensity, and the exhaust is what, 1636. So normally with solids, the major intensity will be somewhere between 30 and 40-ish is pretty normal, but most stuff is in the 30s, and the exhaust on this thing is 56. I mean, that's hydraulic rollers are 56 from the 6 to the 50. So, but let's go back. Let me cut this intake off. So just to kind of focus on this thing. So we pull our bar over here. So if we run up here to, keep in mind, lash is lash, but normally you would want the lifter to come on the cam. I mean, everybody's a little different, but somewhere in the 1.7 or a thousandths and 7/10 to a thousandths and 9/10, somewhere along in there on the velocity, you would want the lifter to come on a solid roller. So if we bring this thing to that place where we in that window, it's massive. So that's 1.8, and that's 26 lash at the lobe. So this thing is a 1.7 rocker. So that would be, I should have my calculator already calculated. So 26 times 1. So that's 44 lash. So if you bring this thing back down to where the lash would be in a normal place, 20, 24, you would be, I mean, it would be like the velocity would be like not even a thousandths, hardly. I mean, just super. And not only that, it's going to make the cam humongous, because you've seen that like 350 degrees of duration at 20. So, I mean, the exhaust is just going to be massive. I've just never seen anything like that. And if you look, like if you see here where the bar is, so, you know, this is, let me get it back in place. So that's about where the lifter should come on. Right there is about where it should come on. So you got all of this that's just absolutely doing nothing. And then you see all of this here, and you got this, you know, I don't even know what all of this is about. But, you know, it comes up and then flattens out, and this is pretty much like a constant velocity area, and then it starts climbing. But, I mean, you see the amount of space that's just absolutely wasted. And then you come on up here to peak velocity, and most stuff that I see solids, you know, they're going to be 8.5 to 9.5 on peak velocity. And this thing is like 7.5, yeah, 759 is peak velocity. So I don't know. I mean, it's almost like a humongous hydraulic, but it's not. But it's almost like a humongous hydraulic. It's really weird. But the intake is not like that. So the intake is kind of normal. So to have two lobes mixed together on the same cam that are so polar opposites is really weird. And I looked at the name on the back of it, and they done scratched off who made it and done put whatever Billy Bob's race engines or some crap. But it looks like it's 1,000 years old anyway. So to switch gears, let's cut this off. So this is a pulling cam out of another one of them alcohol pulling tractors. And a while back we did one, we repaired one. And this one, the guy said that they just constantly murdering valve train components, killing springs and push rods and rock arms and I think lifters. That was the big deal. They was killing lifters all the time. And I have never seen a lobe this fast. I've seen a lot of goofy stuff, but I've never seen a lobe this fast. And I remember it's been a while. It's been a good while back. And I remember Steve Morris had some kind of cam, and he was talking about check your ramp rates. I don't know what a ramp rate is, but he I wish we could have seen some data. He said he sent it to his cam guru, and they said they ain't never seen no numbers like that before. I wish they'd have shared that information, because I would be curious how it compared to this crazy thing. But there's no data on the cam. It doesn't have any markings to amount to anything, so I have no idea who made it, who designed the lobes, any of that stuff. But if let's just cut off the exhaust. So we got the intake, and this, we know the lash on this one. I think he told me it's like 15 hot, and it's a 1.7 rocker, so that's gonna be like, or maybe 17 hot, so that's gonna be like 9 or 10 at the cam. So right there, let's put it on 10. So at 10, it's at 2 thousandths and 3/10 velocity and 2.2 and 3 tenths acceleration, which is absolutely just flying. Generally, we like to keep from what I see, we like to keep the velocity under 2 and the acceleration under 2 to come on. And then if you come over here to peak velocity, it's scary. It's super scary. So it's like 10.25, almost 2.6. So, I mean, that's like, that's the fastest thing I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen some stuff 9.2, 9.3, but I ain't never seen nothing over 10 like that. That's just insane. And keep in mind, you know, this thing has got 100 psi on the turbo, and it's trying to open the exhaust valve with this crazy acceleration rate. On top of this crazy acceleration rate, is trying to open under all that cylinder pressure. I mean, no wonder they can't keep a lifter in it, or probably anything else as far as that goes. And it's already hurt a couple of lobes, and we can fix it. And I told him, I said, I'm gonna take a bunch of that acceleration out of the exhaust lobe, because there ain't no way that it's ever gonna live with that kind of cylinder pressure plus a super crazy exhaust lobe. And I told him, I said, I'll bet you could play. And he told me how much spring pressure, and it was some insane amount of spring pressure they was running. But with trying to open under all that pressure, I told him, I bet you could cut the spring pressure 30 or 40%, and it would be fine on the exhaust side. I feel pretty confident. So I think they're going to pull some spring pressure out of the exhaust side and just see if that helps the lifters live. But I just think, you know, a new lobe design is going to fix all kind of problems, because there's almost no way that this is making any power as fast as this is moving. I mean, it's just, it's craziness. But I mean, it's smooth. I mean, it ain't like jagged and ugly, but it's just fast. I mean, man, you look right there, like at where the ramp is, and I mean, it's just, it's straight up. They ain't nothing. It's odd. And to put that into perspective, this is one. So if you see the difference in the velocity curve, let me turn that back on. So you see this velocity curve, it's just like straight up. And then you see this velocity curve, and it's just nice and gentle and happy. So this is one of our, like, we use this in like big block, 500 lobe lift, big block stuff. So if we look, let me pull this over here. So if we look at, and this is the same kind of deal, it's like 17 lash. So that would be, you know, 10-ish, 10 and a half. Well, not 1.5, 10 and a half. Too many zeros. So right there, so see, that's 1.9 on the velocity. At 10, yeah, it's like 1.8, and then like 2.2. So the acceleration is still pretty fast, but the velocity's down. And then if we look at peak velocity, we like 9.3. Yep, 9.3. So, you know, it's fast, but it ain't like murdering stuff. But that other lobe, it's crazy. I mean, and the closing side, you know, you can see on this lobe, you see the opening side, and the closing side, you got this nice big sweep to set it down. And on this crazy pulling tractor thing, let me shut that. Yeah, I mean, you see the closing side looks like the opening side. So it's all, let me pull over here and just see what it's, I mean, it almost looks symmetrical, which is another absolute no-no. I mean, not on stuff like this. You can't run no symmetrical design and it be any good. That, oh my God. Yeah, this freaking thing, I mean, it's symmetrical. It's symmetrical. So, you know, for sure, when that thing sets the valve down, it's bouncing to death. Because it's the same velocity and acceleration on the closing side that it is on the opening side. How in the world they thought that was ever going to work? I don't know. No wonder this thing is murdering valve train parts. Yeah, I bet it's beating the seats up. And, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I ain't never seen that. I've never seen a solid roller with an opening and closing the same like that. That's crazy. But anyway, I thought that was some interesting stuff, and we're gonna look at some more of that kind of junk as we go. I got some more data from the Cam Challenge stuff, and I think at some point, I don't know, we've been crazy, just super busy with cam orders. So at some point here, probably maybe next weekend when I get some time, I'm gonna try to put all that stuff together, and we're gonna have another little video about that and unpack some of that data, I hope. So, and possibly, I ain't made up my mind 100%, but we may be going to PRI, and I think everybody in the Cam Challenge is gonna meet, and I don't know what all's gonna happen exactly, but I think we all gonna meet and talk, and I don't know what else. So I'll let you know more about that. So if you go into PRI, we might be there. So, but I'll keep that. I'll keep you abreast of that as we get a little closer. But anyway, all right. Thanks so much. I'm going home. Hopefully that was interesting. Leave me some comments. We'll see you on the next one.